the Fantasy Six-Pack Hour with your hosts, Joe Bond and AJ Applegarth.
Touchdown! All right, welcome to the Fantasy Six-Pack Hour. My name is Joe Bond, founder of FantasySixPack.net. With me, as usual, Mr. AJ Applegarth. So last week we were almost matching green shirts. Tonight is close enough to like grayish shirts.
And they're both Scott Fish shirts. So.
Yes, they are. This is not planned, folks. This is just, weird. All right. So tonight we're going to be jumping into our Week 5 fantasy football prep here, and going through our start-sit scenarios, answering your questions live here on air as you throw them out, and sorry, trying to get a couple things situated here, and then and then at the very end here we'll jump through kind of our reactions, from the season in Week 4. That kind of stuff, just kind of rant at the end here. It's kind of fun. But before we jump into that, just want to remind you to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, leave those 5 stars, reviews, comments, whatever. We appreciate it and helps us out a ton. And of course, jump over to FantasySixPack.net to become an all access member. Look, you could be having a horrible start to the season, and it's not over. Let us help you get back into the playoff race and hopefully take home that championship. You're going to get access to our award-winning rankings. If you just want to throw the towel, go play some DFS. We got some great guys over there. Dave Eddy, Chris Robin, Keith Fleming. We got a ton of betting content. The Parlay Fantasy Football guys came over, and all of those guys are just crushing it right now. So you can pay for the membership itself with just their picks and all that stuff. So jump on over there. Use promo code F6P NFL24 to save 15%. Without further ado, man, you wanna jump into this?
Yes.
Let's
do it.
Sound excited at all, AJ?
I am pumped.
Are you? What just happened here, Mike? What did you just do?
I just watched the Mets freaking clinch, and I'm tired of the Mets. I hope they get their ASS's handed to them coming into Philly this weekend. But it's gonna be a tough matchup.
And I'm done with baseball. The Orioles decided to blow it.
Yeah, I was there for the 1-0 shutout. Corbin Burns was awesome. That's
yeah, he really was. I'm just at a loss for words, man. Don't know what to do anymore with that team. Sometimes.
Speaking of loss of words,
sucks.
I hope I leave you at a loss of words for these questions this week.
We'll see.
All right. Well, we're gonna come out the gates hot here, and Joe, you get to start us off. You get Patrick Mahomes on Monday night versus Saints, or Justin Fields, who was QB1 last week, if I recall, versus the Cowboys. Also a primetime game, if I believe, Sunday night.
Dude, Pat Mahomes is a tough start right now, man. I'm not gonna lie. He just really isn't getting it done. Just sort of playing it safe. He's just not lighting it up, man. Like, it is what it is. Like, I know everybody's like, oh, it's Pat Mahomes. You got to start Pat Mahomes. Like, I'm not really sure you do anymore. Like, he doesn't have the rushing floor, right? He doesn't have the rushing ceiling. So there's none of that going his way. He just lost Rashee Rice. Who's he going to throw to, man? Travis Kelce does not look the same. I know he finally started getting it going last week after Rashee Rice was out. I think we are going to see a lot more Travis Kelce finally going forward. I've said that before, and I think it's kind of like, well, now there's really nobody left. But, they're bringing in reinforcements in the running game. I really do think they're going to lean on the defense and the run game more and just let Pat Mahomes just kind of do it when he has to. And not force the issue, because the the guys around him just aren't really like they're just playing not good. I mean, like when Justin Watson is probably your best receiver right now, that's not good. So I'm leaning Justin Fields here, which is I cannot believe I'm saying this right now.
Ugh. I don't like this one. Next.
We're off to a good start.
I mean, yeah, aside from not aside from anything, aside from Dallas, New Orleans has been really good against the quarterback. And even that game, they were still really good against the quarterback too. They gave up almost 300 yards, but only one touchdown. That's the only touchdown that an opposing quarterback has against them. Mahomes, like you said, has been not very Mahomes-like. He lost Hollywood Brown before the season even started, really, and now it's official as of, I believe, last week that he's gone for the season. Rice is now out, as you mentioned. Kelsey has been a ghost so far this season. Mecole Hardman, is that who we're excited about? Juju Smith-Schuster? No. I mean, Xavier Worthy is awesome.
Yeah, that's true. I guess Xavier Worthy. Maybe we'll see more than 5 touches for Xavier Worthy now, but
I don't know. I mean, he's been like the lone bright spot on that team offensively. And, Mahomes still has 6 touchdowns, but he's also got 5 interceptions. He's just not playing very well. He's topped 250 yards once, and that was week 1. I think I'm leaning Fields here too. I mean, the matchup is much nicer. Again, it's Dallas. Dallas sucks. I love saying that, and I'll continue to say that forever.
A little too enthusiastic saying that.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I would be, but yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Pretty funny.
Again, looking at them now, they've been pretty good at yardage as far as opposing quarterbacks and keeping them in check there. But
yeah, but Albert's got a good point. They are going to be without Parsons and Lawrence this week, so that's rough for them. A defense that's already been struggling, they're going to lose like arguably 2 of their best guys. So, and absolutely their best guy in Parsons. I mean, we all know that. So,
and just to kind of throw more at it, this isn't on the question, but this is just a sidebar because this game is on right now. Baker Mayfield, I mean, he's borderline a start every week now. I feel like, I mean, just looking at what he's done so far, week 1 against your Commanders, 4 touchdowns, 289 yards. Okay, Detroit, another solid game, not great yardage, but 2 touchdowns, 1 rushing, and then his worst game was against Denver, which was the surprise loss. So I think Baker Mayfield, and I'm mad at myself for not starting him in one of my leagues because I have Purdy. So it's like, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, he's been good too. So
yeah. All right. What's
Did
next?
you answer?
Yeah. Oh, Justin Fields.
I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I don't know if I actually heard your answer, but
yeah, I got the. I said I'm going with Fields. I like the matchup better, and Mahomes is stink pile right now. So
a stink pile. All right.
Yes.
AJ,
we're going with our 4th grade words today.
You get Geno Smith after a career passing day last week against the Giants, or you want Dak Prescott, on that team that you said sucked against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
They do indeed.
Fight.
I'm going with Geno here. I like Geno's, just everything about him. It's the whole, mentality that he's been in the league for so long and just finally caught on with Seattle. And he's been, again, a borderline, weekly starter most weeks. He's not he's not super flashy, but he gets it done, and he's got really solid receiving core with DK and Lockett. Now I know Lockett is questionable, but ultimately I'm sure he'll play. And if he doesn't, they still got JSN. They've got Walker back. He had a phenomenal game back last week.
Good.
So that was
Very
awesome
nice.
for a couple of my benches because I was late to the uptick in putting him back in. And but yeah, I mean the Giants, #suck it Keith. Come on. I mean, what are we doing here? They suck. They're almost as suck as Dallas. Probably worse. More suck. So I like Geno. Dak, tough matchup here with Pittsburgh.
Oh yeah.
That defense is always legit, and this year they're just even more legit. It seems like they have
Too legit to quit.
possibly, yes. Now this is only their second home game too, so I think that crowd's going to be ready to go. Like you said, Mike, it's a primetime game. No, thank you.
Yeah, I'm Geno too. I mean, you pretty much said it all, AJ. Like, the number one thing is like Dak has not looked phenomenal yet. Like him and CD finally looked like they started connecting last week for the first time all season. So that's gonna help. Is gonna lose Cooks this week.
Yeah,
Ferguson's back. So if CD, Ferguson, and him can get going, cool. Rico Dowdle is looking like he's fully taking over that backfield. But like Rico Dowdle isn't anything that like we're excited about. It's not like when Zeke was good and they still had Tony Pollard there, like defenses had to respect this run game. And then the passing game could thrive because of it, right? Like that's not the same. So it's Geno, it's matchup, and it's performance based right now. Like everything leans toward Geno in this case.
Yeah. And did I mention #suck it Keith? So
Yeah, I got the banner ready for you.
good.
All right.
All right. We'll move on to the running backs then, where hopefully I got some more tough ones for you. Joe, you got Chuba Hubbard versus Chicago or Devon Achane at New England against the Patriots? Fight.
It's Chuba, man. You pretty much cannot touch this Miami offense right now. Huntley's going to be the quarterback most likely again this week. And so we saw what happened last week. Guys like Tyreek Hill got 23 yards, I believe. Might have been 26, but either way, not good. Achane is not going to get going. Like this offense just is not going to be good with him under center. And like maybe they get a little bit better with Huntley getting another week of practice there. But it's really hard to trust that. And Hubbard's been really, really good. So he's getting all the work right now. And until Jonathan Brooks steps on the field, I don't see Sanders really cutting into that very much at all. Earlier in the season, he was, but Hubbard has just completely taken that over. And the offense is actually moving the ball with Andy Dalton. So, yeah, I'm actually going to take Hubbard over Achane this week, which is, again, something 2 weeks ago. I would have laughed you off the show if you had said it.
Yeah, I'm with you. Again, I don't want this to be a we agree on everything show, but I mean, the numbers speak for themselves on this one. Achane, again, talent is through the roof, but with all the downsides surrounding this team in the quarterback position, there's no reason not to try to stack the box. and challenge Huntley to make some plays. New England, their defense has been pretty solid this year. I don't love the matchup for that. But like you said, Sanders isn't really taking much away from Hubbard right now. He's projected for, 7 carries maybe, like 30 yards, a couple receptions maybe. But, on the season, he's got 25 carries, less than 100 yards, a 3.6 average, and happened to get a touchdown. Like, that's it. Like, he's not the answer for someone that's going to be coming in and taking a whole lot of playing away from Hubbard when he's been successful, and even more so with Dalton under center. Sanders is also questionable. He popped up on today's injury report. Sounds like it's an illness. So, I don't know if that's really going to keep him out, but maybe it hinders him. But again, if he doesn't even play, you're looking at Blackshear and Mike Boone as the reserve backs. So yeah, that's all Hubbard. He's just going to eat. I would like to see him get into the end zone. He's only got one more touchdown than Sanders. So that would be nice to see. But back-to-back 100-yard games, I'm all over that.
All right, we'll move on to the next one here where we got a running back on a struggling offense in Jerome Ford going against the Commanders, or your potential RB1 for the Chiefs, maybe? Kareem Hunt. AJ, who you want?
I'm leaning Ford on this one. I like what Hunt did. I believe he's also questionable based on my update of the depth chart today. And the other thing to look at there, I don't think it's going to be a factor this week, but CEH is, they have opened his 21-day window to get back to the field. So, I don't think he plays this week, but he was limited in practice today. Whether or not that eats into Hunt's playing time is yet to be seen. But again, I think Ford has been consistent. 39 carries, just over 200 yards, 5.2 average. Plus, he's got 17 receptions this year. I mean, he's their go-to guy. He's the main one there. Pierre Strong is still questionable. Not worried about him like coming in and chewing up a lot. Donta Foreman, he's got 20 carries on the year. So again, not a lot of competition here for Ford. Whereas there's just a revolving door of running backs in Kansas City. So, initially I wouldn't necessarily love the matchup against the Commanders, but at the same time, they've given up at least one touchdown, to running backs and over 100 yards the past 2 weeks, nearly almost 100 every week. So, yeah, it's Ford for me.
Yeah, it's Ford for me too. None of them really overwhelmed me here. Kareem Hunt, I know he kind of took everything last week. Part of me wants to say that's because Steele fumbled super early in the game.
Yeah.
And then they just didn't play him after the first quarter. Kind of a weird scenario. Like he fumbled and then they put him back in the game for the rest of the first quarter. And then they were like, you know what? On second thought, you're going to go sit over there and think about what you did. It was kind of a weird thing. But Jerome Ford, he's the guy. This matchup, I know the Commanders' defense stepped up last week. Don't go chasing that. It's still the Commanders' defense. They still suck. Don't worry about it, guys. Everybody's gonna find, blind squirrel finds a nut every now and then. You know what I mean? No, don't count on that happening ever again. So, yeah, Jerome Ford is where I'm going. I know we got a bunch of questions. I think AJ, we should pause here. And some of these. Sorry, guys, I wasn't paying attention. So parlay fantasy football. What's up, guys? Here on the
Gentlemen.
YouTube channel here.
How are you?
Completely random, but Tyrone Tracy a solid pickup if Singletary does not practice tomorrow?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, look, is it like a guaranteed amount? It's going to amount to a lot of production? No. Will it amount to a lot of work? Yes. A lot of usage. That's what I lean on, and that's why you like Singletary is because of the usage. Like, you just hope it he pops one, he gets in the end zone. The other thing to really think about here, though, is Neighbors is more. He's questionable, but he's still he's more doubtful than questionable right now. And so if he doesn't go, they're gonna have to lean on like Wan'Dale Robinson, and then probably this running game a little more. So that that could favor whoever the running back is. Maybe both. Maybe we see a little bit of uptick for Tracy this week, regardless. But I wouldn't start him if Singletary's there. I know we got more. Chad was asking here. Got a tough one here. Waddle with Snoop. That'd be Huntley at quarterback. Pittman with Averich if Richardson goes instead of Flacco, or Najee. Chad, is this PPR or half? Because that might make a difference for me. If it's half, I'm gonna go with. Man, you know what? I think regardless, I'm just gonna lean Harris. It would probably be a lot closer with Pittman if you get Flacco in there. I'm leaning. I'm just no way I'm not going with Waddle. So it would be Harris or Pittman, and I'm not sure right now. I've got it projected with Richardson playing, so Pittman's a little bit farther down. So Pittman, I think, would get really close. That would probably be more of a coin flip for me, but right now it's Harris. And then I think we had another one. Here we go. What do y'all think about Joe Burrow and Marvin Harrison Jr. versus Stroud and Tyreek? Oh no, I'm not doing it. I'm not giving up Harris. I don't want anything to do with Tyreek. I get it, Tyreek. Look, if Tua comes back, Tyreek Hill is gonna blow up again. And you know what? I don't know, man. Like, in the back of my head, back of my mind, I really don't think Tua's coming back this year. I just don't feel like he should. We've said that before about him, but I don't know.
Well, which side are you getting, Nathan? That's the bigger.
Well, regardless, I would say I would want the Marvin Harrison side, because I also think Burrow is still ultimately at the end of the year. Maybe he isn't overall going to finish better than Stroud, but he's going to be really close. Like he's starting to play better, starting to get a little more comfortable. Chase and Higgins are both there. The running game's getting a little bit more going. They're incorporating Chase Brown more, which is going to help. And honestly, right now, Stroud isn't playing great, not for fantasy. So would it surprise you to know that I want to say Stroud only has like a couple more points on the season than Anthony Richardson? Or that was before last game, I believe. But still, that's crazy to think, right? Because everybody's like, "Oh, Richardson sucks," but I mean, really, guys?
Yeah. Does he suck though?
He does, but his fantasy outlook has not been as bad as maybe you would think. Actually, Richardson had more points before week 4. According to the Fantasy Pros. And of course, after last week, of course, he falls because he barely played. But it was wasn't great. So Yeah, I'm taking the Burrow side.
Yeah,
I
agree with that. I think
Burrow always starts really slow too. Like it's just kind of a weird thing with him. He gets it going, man. He's the second half quarterback. It's weird.
And the other thing to keep in mind too is that, Kyler just hasn't really gotten going yet, and I think he will pick it up and be better as well. So that's only going to bode well for Harrison.
Yeah, I'm actually reading about Tua now, and I'm actually kind of surprised to see this, that they think Tua might be back for week 8. I had not read that yet. I guess that's news that came out a couple of days ago, but whoa, that's I don't know.
Yeah.
Tua's really got to evaluate. But whatever. All right, let's move on.
AJ's curse lives. Baker comes up a little limp after getting sacked on 3rd down.
Oh, I didn't wish bad on him. I said he should.
No, it's just your curse because you said in the beginning of the show Baker's an automatic start pretty much right now.
I mean, he's still is.
You mentioned his name.
Yeah, true. Spoke him into existence around me. So
bad idea.
Yeah.
Don't ask AJ a question about a player you want to be healthy.
I will ruin it for you.
Possibly use it to your advantage to go the other way, though.
Yes. If it's somebody your opponent has that you want out, come talk to me.
All right.
To the receivers, Joe. You get Garrett Wilson at Minnesota versus the Vikings, DJ Moore versus the Panthers, T. Higgins versus the Ravens. Who you starting, who you sitting?
Such an ugly one.
We like him nasty.
Oh
yeah.
Man, I'm done.
All right, Joe's done for the night.
I'm done. I'm gonna sit DJ Moore, man. Like, look, had he not scored a touchdown last week, that game would have been terrible for him. I know Wilson and hasn't really gotten going. T. Higgins looked better in his second game back, so I believe he's on the uptick here. Look, I need to see more consistency from Caleb Williams before I'm gonna trust DJ Moore over guys like this. And who I forget who they playing again. I just had it up a second ago. We just talked about this game.
DJ Moore, Carolina,
the Panthers,
Carolina. It scrolls across the bottom game on the ticker. Remember?
Yeah, true. I forgot. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, stick to my guns. Say DJ Moore. I know, right? It's tough, man. This is a hard one.
AJ, are you gonna finish him?
Matchup wise, are they're all pretty even.
Higgins has by far the worst matchup.
Actually,
versus Baltimore.
Not according to what I'm looking at, it's like 2 off. But
I'm looking at DVOA right now, and Baltimore's like legit, dude.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think I'm gonna go with DJ. I think he somehow finds a way to get in the end zone again and actually get some yardage with it this time. It's against Carolina. He wants to show them what they gave up. I think it's going to mean something more to him.
Funny you say that. I ask this question: Is DJ Moore still considered a revenge game if they did right by him by trading him? It's like the thank you game.
Maybe. Yes, he wants to thank them by scoring on them several times. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I said, I just like DJ over Higgins. I think.
It's close. They're all really
Wilson,
close.
Wilson does have the game in England, so maybe that messes with him. I don't know. I think that could be like a really good shootout game, though.
We've seen some really big games over there, and we've seen some games where it's like, why?
Yeah.
Like, are they still on American time and they know it's 9:30 because they're playing like it's 9:30 in the morning?
Yeah, exactly.
That's
bad. But yeah, I think I'm gonna sit Higgins and then
all right.
Wilson more.
All right, on to the nastiest question of the night. AJ, you gonna start us off with Tyreek Hill against the Patriots, Dontayvion Wicks against the Rams, or Terry McLaurin versus the Browns? Who you starting? Who you sitting?
Oof. Man,
come on, you know you want to say it.
I know I do, but I don't at the same time.
I'll do it first.
I'm sitting Hill.
Yeah, I mean, I'll do it first. I'm sitting Hill. Yeah, sorry.
Sitting Hill.
Can't do it.
McLaurin is like getting an awesome, rapport going here with Daniels. Daniels has looked awesome in these first few weeks. Yes, it's small sample size, but he was my pick over Caleb Williams with the parlay guys. So I'm rolling with that, and I'm keeping McLaurin in. Wicks has been sneaky good, and Watson's doubtful, so likely to not play again.
Oh, Watson's out. Like, there's no way he's playing.
I mean, he's got this ankle issue yet again. That's great that he's avoiding the IR, but, it's a high ankle sprain. We know that that's multiple weeks. Jaden Reed is obviously their go-to, and Romeo Dobbs is he's been inconsistent so far this year and not very good. Like his consistency is that he's consistently been disappointing. He has yet to find the end zone. His targets have been up to 8 and down to 2. So he's all over the place. Can't really trust him. I'm not starting him. Plus, he is questionable with a personal reason. I don't know what that means. That could be one of many things. But again, Wicks has been more consistent in the fact that he's got 2 games with a total of 5 targets and no catches and 13 targets last week against Minnesota. So 2 of them touchdowns, 2 of his 5 receptions. So I think he finds the end zone again with the other guys ahead of him just not playing or not playing well. So sorry, Tyreek, until you get a quarterback that can throw the ball to you again, I don't care about your 30-some yards a game.
Yeah, I mean, it's Hill. I mean, it's pretty much just it's more Hill than the other guys. Like Terry McLaurin's to me like the start, even though the matchup kind of says otherwise. But Cleveland hasn't been like total lockdown this year. In fact, the wide receiver ones, they're according to DVOA, they're like 5th or so worst against receiver ones for teams. Though, again, small sample size for a lot of these, but it's that's interesting to note. The only thing going against Dontayvion Wicks, right, is that this team is still going to spread this ball around a lot. That's the only thing that goes against him. Is I know he saw a boatload of targets this past week after Watson went out, and he was on the field an absolute ton. I can't count on that to continue every single week with this team. It just never seems to be that way. And we heard that when we did the preseason training camp check-ins with the guy from Green Bay. He said the same thing every day in camp. It was somebody different. One day it was Wicks. One day it was Dobbs. One day it was Reed. One day it was Watson. Now you take out Watson. Okay, fine. So there's still 3 plus Kraft got in the mix last week. Josh Jacobs is still there. Emmanuel Wilson has been balling out. So it's that's the only thing that would, I think, get Hill over Wicks. To me, the only way Hill outproduces these guys is ultimately, though, is that he gets like a quick slant and then just takes it to the house for like 60, 70 yards. That's the only way it's going to happen, because Huntley just isn't going to be relied upon to throw the ball downfield. That's why I would be sitting Hill. Yeah. It hurts to sit Hill, it really does, but you got to do it at this point.
I got a bonus question to throw in here for you. A bonus player, Allen Lazard. Would you sit Tyreek Hill for Allen Lazard? Is it that bad? Lazard's got 3 touchdowns in the first 4 games.
Yeah,
it's nasty.
I don't think I do. No, I'm not going that far yet.
All right. Then we'll move on to the next question then here. And I know AJ spoke first, so Joe, you get to get this one. You get Wan'Dale Robinson versus Seahawks, Keenan Allen versus the Panthers, or Tutu Atwell, another waiver wire darling, versus the Packers.
So it's interesting because I've got Wan'Dale a little bit farther down. My initial ranks still have Neighbors in there. So this will clearly change if and when Neighbors gets officially rolled out, which sounds like it's leaning that way. But so there's 2 answers, unfortunately. It is well, no, actually, now that I'm looking at my rankings, I just realized Keenan Allen's below them regardless. So never mind. It's at Keenan Allen. I don't know why I thought I saw Keenan Allen higher, like him in between the 2 of them. I was seeing something. That's the 4 hours of sleep I've got with my dog every night for the last week and a half. So I'm tired. So yeah, no, it's Keenan Allen. That's kind of what I was leaning anyway when I saw this. So I was kind of surprised. I don't know. Yeah, again, kind of out there. Again, it's the same thing with DJ Moore to me. It's just not working with Caleb right now. I know he had the one game where it was just, he threw for a ton of yards. Okay. Keenan Allen also doesn't look the same. So I need to see it from him before. And Wan'Dale's seeing a lot of targets even with Neighbors there. So I like him. Yeah. Atwell is kind of the only guy that Stafford seems to trust right now. It's not like blowing up, but it's useful. Keenan Allen isn't a very useful player right now in fantasy.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to sit Allen, mostly because I just praised DJ Moore for his comeback revenge / thank you game. I still think Caleb needs to grow in general, like you said. The one thing with Wan'Dale is that he is questionable. He's had limited practices so far this week. Today and yesterday, he's dealing with a heel issue. But again, if Neighbors is out, which he likely will be, I think they have to, keep Robinson on the field. So I think, Seattle's defense again has been good, and it is the Giants, but I think they can be thrown on too. So I'm just going to sit Allen. Tutu. I don't really love him, but
yeah, I mean,
he's been consistent, for the past couple weeks at least, with the Rams just dealing with Puka and Kupp still out.
Yep.
It's just whatever. There, DeMarcus Robinson hasn't done anything. Whittington has been okay as well, but yeah, I mean, Tutu seems to be the guy that's getting the majority of the playing.
Go tight ends.
Yep. And you get another waiver wire darling, Joe. Tucker Kraft against the Rams or Isaiah Likely against the Bengals. Fight.
I don't want to play in a league where I don't have to start tight ends anymore because I'm sick of this position. But
I know what you mean. Like, I've been getting offers like, "Hey, you want this tight end? I don't want to trade for any tight end at this point."
No. I mean, I'm going Tucker Kraft. The Ravens are not. They're trying not to pass the ball very much at this point. You at least know that Jordan Love is going to pass the ball. I'd say more likely in the ballpark of like 35 times every game, 30 to 35 times. That's what they want to do. The Ravens want to run the ball 45 times a game. So it's the complete opposite. And yeah, last week we were thinking, likely might be a viable play. Even Mark Andrews might be back in the mix because the Bills might get big on them, and so the Ravens might have to pass. Well, it was the complete opposite. The Ravens just smashed them from the get-go, and they were like, okay, well, we're not going to pass the ball at all. We got another 0 spot for Mark Andrews, so he is firmly on my bench and might be cut soon if I don't get anything from him for a third week in a row. Likely he's right behind if I'm rostering him anywhere, because it's just after the first week, we were all excited about him. No thanks. I mean, look, Kraft might get you 4 points. It's going to be 3.5 more than you're going to get from likely. It's that kind of deal, man. That's unfortunately where we're at with the tight end position this year. After being excited for it so much.
Yeah.
It has gone the other direction in a flash, man. It's bad.
Yeah. I'm with you there. Kraft is definitely the option here. And if this game that was on now wasn't tonight, if I can speak, I picked up Kate Otten in a couple of different places on waivers this week to play this, for tonight because, McMillan was out, Palmer was out. Obviously, you've got the big two in Evans and Godwin. Sterling Shepard's been playing pretty well. He's got another touchdown tonight.
He got one for four,
I picked him up.
That was it. But
yeah, he did almost have a second. He almost had a second one. He was overthrown. So I liked Otten tonight too. But so here's the trivia question: which of these two tight ends has, and this is going off ESPN, which one is projected for more points this week? More points, more yards, whatever you want to call it.
When you ask that question, it's probably likely.
It is. They're both projected for 3 targets, 2 receptions. Andrews at a whopping 24 yards, and likely at a not much better 26 yards.
Yeah.
And the other thing with likely, after the week 1 blow up, 9-111 and a touchdown on 12 targets, he had 27 points in this ESPN league I'm looking at, and he has less than a third of that the rest of the 3 weeks with 8 points total. It's just, this is kind of like a standard scoring league. Yet still PPR. So he's just not getting it done. Neither's Andrews. Like you said, I'm about ready to cut bait with him as well in a couple of leagues. I just think he needs to ride the bench until you can see something out of him.
I said it last week, and I did it, and I didn't do it in Scott Fish. It wouldn't have mattered. I still would have lost by a few points, but yeah, I should have played Ertz over Andrews, and I did not. I've had 2 weeks in a row with Andrews giving me 0 and Scott Fish, which is tight end premium too. So come on, man, that's hard to do. But all right, let's get to our last question here.
Yeah, just added in a new flex question. Joe, you get to start it off with our first ever flex question. And do you want Rico Dowdle, the running back, versus Steelers, or Xavier Legette, the rookie wide receiver, against the Bears?
With the Bears colors.
My bad. I saw. I had them all right until the very last one. Damn it.
He did.
And look who gets to call you out. This guy. Oh, my day is complete.
Yeah, man. I'm going Legette. Like, Dallas Cowboy offense is struggling. Rico's getting the majority of the touches there. Great. He's not very good. Legette without Thielen there is getting a lot more work, and he looked really good last week. So I'm gonna ride that train with Legette in this scenario. What's up, Jamie?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Obviously, Bears defense is decent against the receivers, one of the tougher in the league.
So much so that I've got them literally covering Xavier Legette in this. That's what I meant by that.
Yeah. I mean, they've got, literally covering his blue and black with the navy and orangish. If that's the two that were on there, I'd move the camera.
That's a blanket coverage.
Yeah. I mean, 6 for 66 last week and a touchdown. Threw in a couple carries for 10 yards too. Definitely a coming out game of sorts for Legette. Deontay Johnson is also questionable going into this. I'm sure he will play. He was limited with the ankle issue today. So I think he'll still play though, but even still, I'm going Legette. Because I said it earlier and I'll say it again. Dallas sucks.
Absolutely. I like it. All right. Well, that is it for our start sit portion of the show. Hope we helped you with some week 5.
Before we move in, we do have one last start sit question from Albert.
Jaden Daniels or Jordan Love this week. AJ, I have gone first for the last 3 questions at least, so you get this one first.
I'm going Daniels. Until he shows me that he's not awesome, I'm not, shying away from him. Burned me a couple weeks ago. I benched him for someone else, and I was pissed. Not doing it now. I mean, Love is good, but I like Daniels.
Love me some love, but it's JD all the way, man. Dude is legit, like just way too good to be sitting right now. So, yeah, absolutely. So, all right, that is officially the end of the start sit portion of the show. We're gonna jump into our little rant action here, where we just kind of talk about our thoughts for the season, for the week, the week that was, more so than anything. AJ, do you want to go first? Or do you want me to go first on this one?
I will, because I haven't had a chance yet to turn today's show into an Eagles love fest, but I'm going to turn it into an Eagles hate fest.
I can get on board with this.
I'm over this team. I'm over the nonsense. Yeah. I'm listening.
Tell me more.
You have my attention. I'm sorry. What did you say about Dallas and the Giants sucking? Who else?
Add Eagles to that, and you just said Jaden Daniels is awesome? I'm loving this show, AJ. Yeah. Thank you.
I know. You're welcome. See, I can have the gift of giving in my heart sometimes. But yes, no, it's just I said it pre-show. The best part about this week is the fact that the Eagles are not playing because they cannot lose this week. So they cannot lose ground in the division. They cannot gain ground in the division, but they're not doing that anyways. Jalen is average. Sorry, he just is. Nick Sirianni should have canned him last year. They brought in 2 new coordinators. Fangio is old school, and he's still a good coordinator, but maybe the game's passed him by now. I don't know. But it's just enough. I've had enough with this BS team. Yes, he's been without his 2 top receiving threats the past 2 weeks. Yes, they've already played the 3 tougher teams out of the AFC or NFC South. But I mean, come on. This is just enough is enough. I'm over it. Give the ball to Saquon. Stop trying to read blitzes you can't read, and just deal with it. You're average. Sorry. Carson Wentz 2.0. Floor is yours.
I don't know if I'm going that far, man. Let's wait to see when he gets AJ Brown and Devonta
I do want to
Smith
see. I do want to see him have his receivers back. Yes.
Yeah, and I mean, look, Saquon and him have both been great back there, man. So and Goddard stepped up in the place, but it's really hard. Good. It's really hard to be able to move the offense when your best receiver is who? I don't even know at this point.
Not Jahan Dotson.
No, my God,
he's not Paris Campbell. I mean, or is it?
At least Campbell got a touchdown.
Even a blind squirrel finds a nut.
That, if I remember correctly, that nut was one of your only 2 touchdowns.
Probably. I mean, that game was just a shit show from the get-go. And I did not mean to rhyme that, but I did. So there you go. And again, I didn't even watch the game because I was driving to a friend's kid's birthday party. And then by the time we got there, I looked and I'm like, wow, I've got a big text chain from my friends. I was like, doesn't look good. And I'm not even going to read any more of these because it's what I expected.
Same thing I tell my friend whose kids play soccer on Sundays during the football season. He needs a new league, and AJ, you need new friends. None of this Sunday BS in the fall. No. Get out of here. Get out of here.
So the best part about it was that it was in Savage Mill. So I went immediately next door to where the party was with the husband of the children, and we were at the bar drinking and watching football. So I really didn't miss too much, but it was the drive down. Anyway, what's your answer?
I'm gonna jump in here and we talked about it a little bit earlier. The Cincinnati Bengals backfield, the usage trends that we're seeing here. Early season, preseason, everybody was kind of on the Chase Brown hype train. I understood why. He very good player. Zach Moss is Zach Moss. He's fine, right? He's nothing that anybody's super duper excited about. But man, early on, they just were not using him at all. They were not using Brown, at all. He was seeing 33% of the snaps, 18% of the snaps, 23% of the snaps. And he didn't, 23% of the attempts, 20%, 37%. It was like, what is going on? It just, it wasn't going his way. And so last game, things kind of flipped. Real quick here, Moss was still on the field more, but Chase Brown actually got more carries. And look, Brown has been more efficient with the ball too. 5.3 yards per carry versus 3.4 for Moss. Now, I say all this not to say that I think Chase Brown is taking over. What I think this is now turning into, which is what I believe we all, at least me, thought was going to happen at the very beginning, which is this was going to be a pretty split backfield. The first 3 games, it was like 75% Zach Moss. Now we're seeing it. Now I think we're going to see more of a split. I think Chase Brown has proven that he is a great change of pace back there. Just got a different skill set than Moss. And so he can really kind of spark this offense a little bit when they need it in the run game, more so than Moss. The one thing that's hurting Brown is his pass blocking ability. So that does keep him off the field just a little bit more. So he's got to get that fixed or he's going to struggle to see the field more as much as he should. But, for those clamoring on Twitter and yelling on Reddit and Facebook or whatever you're in, listening and reading stuff about, this backfield and fantasy football, just saying, oh, Chase Brown's now here. He's going to be the guy going forward. Slow down. I don't think that's going to happen. But Chase Brown is going to be more in the mix than he had been. So he kind of becomes like more of a flex play for me most weeks. Maybe an RB2 on like some of these really bad bye weeks that we're going to have upcoming. I think it would take a lot for Moss to totally get thrown out of the mix here. So, yeah, that's my take on that.
Yeah. I mean, Moss has just steadily increased his attempts. His targets have been pretty consistent. 4+ every week except for week 2. I think same thing with receptions. He's been solid there. So I definitely like him as the lead guy. Brown, maybe like you said, maybe a flex play at best. They've got some decent matchups coming up against the Giants. At Cleveland, they have Philly at home and then Vegas. So maybe those games kind of turn into blowouts a little bit. So Chase gets a little garbage time.
Well, and the thing that I liked too last game is that Chase Brown saw 2 attempts inside the 5-yard line. Now Moss saw 1, but Chase Brown got 2. To where he hadn't seen any all year long. So that's also big. Like if you're not going to get the majority of the workload, if you're not going to be the RB1 on the team, as far as like carries and workload, get those goal line carries, man, get that touchdown. That can make you the RB1 in fantasy for the team in a lot of weeks. So that's also really good to see. It'll be interesting to see if that continues going forward. Before you get into your second one, AJ, we had a question here from Brew42. Had someone offer me Bijan, Zay Flowers, Tank Dell for my Aaron Jones and Rashid Shaheed? Did I fleece? PPR, I got the Bijan side. I don't know. I want to say you did, and I really like Bijan. But dude, like if we're being serious about it, like Bijan's been super frustrating this year. Like just look at tonight's game. They have scored 27 points. Bijan has 11 carries for 60 yards and only 2 receptions for 11. We're seeing Darnell Mooney get 7 for 76 and a touchdown. Right? Like it's just
and
weird.
Mooney just had a wide open drop too. Anyway, yeah, I wouldn't call it a fleecing. I think you win.
I also am not big on Tank Dell. I think Tank Dell is going to have some really big weeks, but it really does look like he is on more of the outside looking in compared to I can't watch the game during these shows, unfortunately. I don't have a TV that I can watch, and if I stream it on my computer, I'd be I'd be like a robot. I'd be like Max Hedberg talking to. So not gonna happen. Right. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Houston. I'm trying to look at Houston workload here for receiver. So yeah, it's just he just looks like he's a little bit on the outside looking in as far as like amount of work here. It's Nico 1, Diggs 2, Dell 3.
Yeah,
and that's hard. Like they're all good, and when Mixon's healthy, he's going to be in the mix big time. I still like your side lightly. Just gotta hope that Atlanta figures out how to use Bijan a little bit more.
Yeah,
mind-boggling what they're doing here.
Yeah, like I said, I think it is a win. I do like Tank Dell. I like his upside. I like what he showed us last year. He is dealing with the chest right now, so he was limited today. But, who knows if that's something that's going to linger or not. Again, he is still the third option there right now. But, again, we've seen Mixon out. Pierce has been down. Not that Pierce is anything fantastic, but he can, he can pick up in the running game if he's healthy and Mixon's still out. So I think there's just a lot of mouths here in Houston, like we've been saying all year. He's still getting 60+% snap share, still getting a decent amount of targets. He's just not doing a lot with them. So that's kind of the kicker there for me. But I do think you win. Shaheed is really boom or bust. Jones has been really solid. Flowers has been good. But again, we already taled about Baltimore not necessarily throwing the ball.
Yeah. Not if they don't want to. Not if they can help it.
Yeah.
They don't care.
Again, it's
not
close. It's not a fleecing, but it's.
I'm just a Bijan fan. It's just not working yet, and that's unfortunate.
PPR, I think you win. So,
all right, AJ, what's your second thing that you want to talk about here?
My second one, I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with Jacksonville. We kind of talked about them last week and how they were just such an abomination, how, Trevor Lawrence was not startable anymore. ETN was still going to get his, and that's still kind of the main takeaway there. But, Tank Bigsby showed up last week. He had, some decent carry action. He had, did he get a touchdown or no, he did not. He had 90 yards on 7 rushes. Still a super small snap percentage, but now 2 of the 3 games we've seen Tank Bigsby do a lot with a little. In terms of attempts. Week 1 was his highest snap percentage at 32, and he went 12 for 73. So again, he needs to find the end zone to really kind of be a flex-worthy play in my mind right now. Jacksonville came back last week. They didn't win the game, but they had a really solid showing against a good Houston team, divisional matchup. So it was a good sign to see them actually coming back to life in a sense. Lawrence had 2 touchdowns, only sacked once, where he's got 11 sacks the first 3 games. So that was nice to see. The yardage, you still want to see more there. He's only over 200 yards once this year. And oddly enough, that was the game that he didn't throw a touchdown. So his inconsistency still looms, but it was a step in the right direction for him. They've got another division matchup here against Indy this week. And if, Richardson is questionable, so he was limited in practice again today with this oblique issue. If he doesn't play, you got, Captain Elite, Mr. Joe Flacco, who stepped up and had a very Flacco-esque game. So I don't think there's much of a drop-off if Richardson doesn't play. I do think that game could be very interesting, though, especially from a fantasy standpoint. So keep an eye on Jacksonville. I know it's been a tough road for owners of their players, especially if you own Evan Ingram. That has not been fun this year. He was limited again for the second straight day. He's still dealing with this hamstring issue.
Hamstrings linger, man. They suck. They
Questionable.
Suck bad.
So we'll see. But
a lot. So
I think if he can, the sooner he can get back on the field, I think that's going to help Lawrence as well. I think he misses having him out there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, I like that Jags team a lot, man. I really do. Where to say that they are the worst team in the NFL by record right now?
Only defeated team left.
Yeah, that's such a weird thing to say. So, we got another question before I jump into mine from Denny. What do we think about Chase for DK plus Rashee Rice or Puka? Well, you don't want Rice. If you're giving, I want Jamar in that. Like, I don't want anything to do. Like, DK's fine, but DK's like, I don't know. It just feels like there's a game where like DK disappears, and Puka, like I don't know. Is there even like a full timetable when he's coming back? I don't know. Not even totally sure.
I mean, not that I saw when I was doing the updates today on the depth chart. It was, there's a lot of.
He's expected to miss at least another month, and that was a few days ago. So not good. I don't want it. I don't want it. You're definitely not taking Rice. I think Rice is out for the year. I really do. It's just Chad's over here saying last report was early November. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm reading here too. So no, I'm not doing it because you're basically getting Chase. You're getting DK for Chase, and then hoping that Puka comes back at some point late in the year, and it's still Puka, which I don't know if you can expect that coming off a knee injury in the middle of the season. And you're hoping that you can still be in the playoff hunt with trading a Jamar Chase for DK. And I don't think you do that. I think that's a bad move.
Yeah.
So, freaking hair hanging in my face. It's really annoying. So, all right. I'm going to give you the choice, AJ. Mike, if you want to jump in and we can talk about, and I know where Jamie wants to go if he's still hanging out. We can talk about the Chicago Bears backfield from week 4, kind of what my thoughts were there. Or interestingly enough, this Detroit Lions passing game and kind of how I'm seeing things. Where do you want me to go?
Yeah, I mean, you talked about the Bears backfield last week, so let's go with the Lions passing game.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm in the yellow for like anybody but Amon-Ra at this point with that passing game. After the first 2 weeks, Laporta was already kind of like on high alert along with every other tight end. Obviously, we've been hammering that home for a while. But Jameson Williams was like the talk, right? It was like, oh my gosh, like this is the coming out party of Jameson Williams. It is not happening anymore for him, unfortunately. And so just to kind of prove to you here, right? In a full PPR, Jameson Williams, after the first 2 weeks, was wide receiver 7. In the last 2 weeks, he is wide receiver 53. He had, I have this in my here. He had 5 targets over the last 2 weeks total. He just happened to take a 70-yard, a slant route 70 yards for a touchdown last week to kind of salvage anything. Otherwise, we'd be talking about Jameson Williams probably in like wide receiver 100 territory. Like he'd be terrible.
He would have had 2 receptions for 19 yards.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking like Calvin Ridley territory. Unfortunately, to say that name out loud and that bad, to slander Calvin Ridley a little bit here, but so I was kind of like, what's happening? Like, is our team's just covering him better? That's probably a little bit of it, right? What's happening is his offense has shifted the last couple of weeks. The first 2 weeks, Jared Goff threw the ball a total of 83 times with a low of 28. That means that other game was crazy high, right? The last 2 weeks, he has thrown the ball a total of 41 times with a high of 21. So his high the last 2 weeks was less than his low of the first 2 weeks, a number of attempts. They are leaning on this run game, and it is working. I see no reason why they aren't going to just run it down teams' throats with Gibbs and Montgomery until teams can stop it. Yes, and then run off the play action pass, get it to Amon Ra. Maybe Jameson Williams catches like another slant or like a deep pass, but I have a feeling it's going to end up turning in. Jameson's going to kind of turn into like a more of a big play guy instead of like somebody that we thought we were going to be able to rely upon all season long after the first 2 weeks. It's something that, I don't know if it's something I'm like completely sold on, but it feels like this is more what we're going to get than what we saw the first 2 weeks, just because of how well the Lions have played overall with that, mindset of just running the ball, letting their defense play well, and not trying to get in these like shootouts where they're having to, rely on Goff passing the ball 45 to 50 times a game. I don't think they want to do that anymore. And which means there's a lack of targets going around, and Amon Ra is going to get his. So,
yeah.
And who knows with Laporta? I don't know. I give up.
I still have hope for Laporta. Coming off of last year, it's hard to swallow what he's done this year. Topping 50 yards once, and that just happened last week. He has no more than 4 receptions in a game. He's got more than 4 targets only once. So it's not been very fun to own Laporta, especially for what you paid to get him. And the same, we've talked about it every week. It's the same with every tight end, it seems like. All these high-pick tight ends are not producing. Kelsey has been miserable. Ingram has been injured. Andrews has done absolutely nothing. He's barely been on the field, I feel like. And if he has, he's picking toilet paper out of his freaking cleats because he's been that shitty. I can't.
Like I said, it's bad when Zach Ertz is tight end 9 on the season in PPR scoring. Like it's bad when and Isaiah Likely, as much as we want to say has been bad, and he has been the last 3 weeks, he is still tight end 6 because he had one massive week. That's how bad the tight ends have been.
Yeah, I think with JMO, I still like his upside. But I think we're going to just see the Lions really continue to lean on this running attack and what they have in these two backs. You know, David Montgomery has been awesome this year.
Phenomenal.
Especially for
9. Gibson Montgomery 8 and 9 PPR scoring right now.
Yeah,
crazy.
His draft capital was, you know, you paid up to get Gibbs, and rightfully so, but Montgomery was your value pick, and that was like the zero running back truthers, you know, bread and butter. I feel like if you were lucky enough to get him as your RB1, he's paid off for you. So
yes, sir. Yes, he has.
So I'm on board with this. I Goff is okay, but he's kind of that like lower tier range of quarterbacks where you thought you would be getting your Bakers, your Kirk Cousins, you know, these guys that have just really blown up so far this year. Goff just hasn't. So I'm worried about him, and I just think that, you know, again, it's phenomenal that he had a perfect game going 18 for 18 last week. I don't think I've ever seen that in my life of watching football, but it's still only 18 completions. He has 18 completions in 3 of his 4 weeks, and almost twice that in week 2 against Tampa, where he had no touchdowns and 2 interceptions. So I don't know. 18 seems to be his number.
What I don't understand is how Goff did not get a perfect passer rating. Somebody said something about
his negative rushing, maybe? He was sacked 3 times?
I don't know. Somebody said it had to be, you had to throw at least 28 attempts, but that's not actually true. I'm looking it up right now. It's only 10.
Yeah.
So a perfect passer rating requires 10 pass attempts, a minimum of 77.5 completion percentage, which he got that.
Clearly had.
A minimum of 11.875 of passes resulting in a touchdown. I guess he didn't get that.
No, that's why.
He was at 11.1%. So interesting. Okay. All right. Well, there you go. Weird. I mean, I would have had no idea.
Yeah.
Because nobody understands the passer rating. So there you go.
Yeah.
You know, when somebody goes 18 for 18 for a couple touchdowns, like you think that'd be pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Apparently not.
Apparently not. Still
and I'm gonna kill myself in the crab cake league. Although it might kind of work out because, but I sat Darnell Mooney by accident for Keenan Allen. I did not mean to do that. I forgot to look at that league. Thankfully, I've got Mike Evans, and thankfully the guy I'm playing, Mr. Scotty Simpson, that Baker Mayfield, and that Kyle Pitts.
Oof.
So that might work out.
My new name change.
Got Deontay'd. I don't know.
No, that would have been
good.
No, so for the listeners, Scott Simpson at Nimble W Numbers, I guess it is.
Nimble with numbers.
Well, yeah, but it's just a W.
Yeah.
So he is gloated for 3 years about winning this league, and we are determined to not have that happen again this year. His team name is Deontay My Johnson, so I changed my name last week to Deontay This Johnson. You know, and it happened that we were playing, so it was fun to look at the scoring matchup. He kicked my ass pretty good. I don't think there's any way I could have beat him, even though I benched nobody that really mattered. So he had something out about who's Deontay, who's Johnson now, or something like that.
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh, looks like I'm Deontaying your Johnson real good at Applegarth Algarth. Yes, you did. Congratulations, Scott. So now my new name for this week is Scott Bent My Wookie. And I have a picture of Ralph Wiggum with his bent Wookie.
Nice.
So, yes, it's where I went. But anyway. There it is.
I just remembered we had that. I was
we
like,
had the
perfect.
drop board. Nice. One of our 6 drops on the drop board.
Yeah. I forgot. You said that. I was like, wait a minute. I think we used to have something about that.
So my one buddy in another league he started Pitts and Mooney.
Ooh.
And he's currently sitting at 47.3 points. He
There's
also has
Thursday night game. This is crazy.
Yeah. He also
had 31 points from Mooney. He just scored a second touchdown.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
The guy he's playing has 38.5 points with Drake London and Koo. But my other buddy benched Kirk Cousins while he's playing Mooney and Pitts. His other quarterback is Stroud, so I
fair.
Get it.
Totally fair.
I get it, but
and look, Cousins hasn't been very good. So like, who? I mean,
well, yeah, I don't. You know,
Cousins is QB 25 on the season before
53
today.
3 attempts tonight, 38 for 53 for 435 yards, 3 touchdowns and a pick.
Yeah, he's balling out, man.
Jesus. But it's only 28.5 points in my league. So interesting. Especially since Baker has 27.7 points on only 180 yards, 3 touchdowns. And that's it. And a bunch of carries.
Oh my goodness. Oh, if I lose to Scott because I sat Darnell Mooney over Keenan Allen, I'm gonna kick myself because I'm looking at my rankings and I absolutely had it the other way around. I don't know what I was doing.
How dare you?
I blame the kids.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's fair. I'll do that too.
Yeah, I mean, totally. All right. I think that's it for the show, man.
Yeah.
I think we're done.
I need sleep.
It's late. I need a lot of sleep because I am super tired. I'm delirious sometimes here. Quick question here is from Zach L. Would you trade Monty for Scary Terry? I mean, without knowing the teams, no, I would not. I love me some Terry McLaurin, but dude, it's so hard to trade a running back right now who is actually performing well. And like I said, I don't think the Lions are going away from it. But if you have a plethora of running backs and you are desperate for receiver, absolutely make that trade. Your team build matters in this case. So that's what I would do there. I think that's all we got. So Chad's giving live updates in the chat here of the game. So love to see that since I can't watch it. So all right, well, that is it for the show. I want to thank you all for listening and watching. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, leave those comments, hit us up on Twitter, become an all access member, and jump in our Discord as well. We love to talk to you guys. So that is it for the show. AJ, peace out, man.